Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for our biggest ever points in FIA. This was the top 16 Superstars race. This was my qualifying lap. I actually bailed my first qualifying lap and just about had enough time to get out pits, get an out lap done and start this lap that we're on now. It was a pretty solid lap, you can see, taking quite good speed. We actually clipped the wall here on the exit there, which lost me a fraction of time, so a little bit of time lost there, but we made it up with a very nice section on the downhill section. This is completely flat out, so not a massive amount of time to be gained through, as you can see. But yeah, we managed to pick up our biggest ever points in FIA in the 3 years that I have been doing top split FIA. So yeah, really looking forward to show you this video. Hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. You won't miss any videos or streams in the future. This was obviously streamed live, so a lot of people in the channel will have already seen this race, but yeah, I wanted to get it out there for the people that didn't catch it, and also to go through some of my thoughts with what happened during the race, and obviously the tactics I was using to try and get myself a solid result of this track. You can see going through that sector there, I'm a purple, so we were actually on for a pole lap here. However, going through here, I think I didn't get on the throttle quite early. You saw a little hesitation on the throttle. I could have actually done that much better. I lost at least a tenth there, and then into the final corner I tried to make it up by braking a little bit too late. You see, very late on the brakes, almost sliding into the corner, just about managed to save it. Did it okay, but another tenth or half a tenth lost on that final corner, and we managed to go over the line on a 39.0, which is by no means a bad lap. That is a pretty solid lap. So we managed to start our race in the top 16 Superstars in P2 with some very fast drivers starting behind me. So this is going to be an interesting one. Can we manage to get a solid result here? You can see the grid lined up. Now there was a bug on GT, it's Bathurst. It's quite a common bug, I think, that P2 comes through as P1 on the information. You can see it there, but it's just the way the replay bug, I think, and also on the intro bug. But you can see some very fast drivers behind us. We've got Aura, we've got Myro behind us, very fast driver. We have Quentin there doing very fast times recently, and we've got Josetti there in P6. Obviously P5 is on his other side the way that this goes through, but we've got Kaj Racer there, and we also have some very fast drivers further down the grid. You see here we've got Dilster, and also starting next to Dilster, I think it was Khalifa, was it? No, it was actually Gian Lud, very fast driver there. We drove against him in McLaren. He actually outscored us in the points. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting start. I decided to go for the start with the bit of boost. You can see I decided to use my overtake button, and look at the advantage that gave me. An almost perfect start there. Really got the gear shift perfect. One bar on the traction control just to help us with a bit of getaway. And out of turn one, we've managed to get ourselves in a nice lead here. We've got half a second. Don't really need to use too much boost up this hill. We've got Quentin, who's managed to get himself into P2 with quite an aggressive dive up the inside on Aura. And now it's looking pretty good here. We're in P1. You can see that I think a car has gone for a dive on Quentin. It's a little bit messy behind us. We've got Josetti, a lot of action going on there. We actually saw that there was quite a lot of penalties picked up on the first lap when we were doing the stream. So if you want to check some of that out, go to our stream, go to the end of the race, and you'll see we ran through a lot of the incidents and talked about it. We're not going to talk too much about that at the moment, because this is about our best ever points in FIA. As you see, at this point, I just wanted to concentrate on trying to get a nice gap. So my theory is, whenever I'm in this position, I like to just try and pull away. I didn't want to do too much fuel saving, although I didn't want to do none at all. So I wanted to push a little bit of fuel saving, use some of my boost, but try and save some for the end. Maybe that was the aim. So you can see using a bit of boost out of that final corner just to give us some initial acceleration down this hill, to give ourselves the ability just to get that top speed a little bit sooner. So yeah, quite confused. I don't know why I didn't go into mixture 2 here. I stayed in mixture 1. So probably at this out lap, I was probably not worrying about fuel too much and just concentrating on keeping the concentration and getting a good lap 1 in. So yeah, really there I should have went into mixture 2 or 3, because there is no real advantage in staying in mixture 1, because you're only going to get to 190 miles per hour anyway, and you save a bit of fuel. So a little bit of a mistake there, but again, that's probably because in this situation, top 16 race, big points available, I was just probably zoned in on trying to get a bit of a gap to P2. You can see we've managed to get quite a solid gap so far. Really nice exit there on turn 1, which is going to help us work our way up this hill now into the braking zone. And again, just using little tiny presses of the boost that I was tending to just use out of corners. Like sometimes I was doing it out of this corner here, just using a little dab of the boost button, see there, just to help me accelerate up the hill. It does help mainly on that type of situation with the torque. A little bit of power up the hills will give you a little bit more speed, and again, third gear through there, really nice. A little dab of that boost again, just to give me that initial acceleration all the way up the hill. And so far, everything is going pretty much perfect in this race. You know, the one thing I wanted to do was try and secure myself good points in this race. If you really push on and pull away, and you've got cars battling behind you, even if your outright pace is not amazing, but I think we actually have pretty solid pace around here, you will tend to be able to secure a top 3 or something like that, because you're not fighting with other cars, you're pushing on, you're not worrying about fuel saving too much, you're just concentrating on your lines, getting your exit sorted, and again, using that boost on the exit of the straight there, you can see, just giving ourselves a little bit of top speed. And you're going to probably see, I'm not sure if we decided to do a little bit of mixture change in here, possibly into mixture 2 there, you see, as there is no benefit to being in mixture 1. You see, into mixture 3 also, as you're not losing hardly any speed, and then just if we get back on the accelerator, start putting that mixture back into mixture 1 for the acceleration zone. So yeah, driving pretty well at the moment. We've got Quentin behind us, very, very, very fast in this car. We saw that I think in the time trial, he was very fast also from very little practice, and Aura also there was always going to be fast at this type of combination. So everything is going spot on at the moment. No real issues. A lot of the battling is going on behind us. We've got nice gaps to myself. There's a bit of a gap behind Quentin also. So we're actually pulling away and building a bit of a split to the group that are chasing behind us, and everything is going pretty much perfect. See, again, using a little bit of boost for that corner, just to help with the fact that I didn't quite hook the corner up, just give myself a little bit of momentum. So yeah, if I was making a mistake, sometimes I was using that boost to counteract the mistake, just to give myself a little bit of acceleration when you maybe lost a little bit. It just helps cover up a few mistakes, if you know what I mean. As we work our way down the downhill section, you can see now on the replay camera, and this section was really enjoyable in this car. So it was very, very tricky to get the car rotated in. You see, you got to take so much speed into that area of the track, and then you have to throw it in, get as close to the walls as possible. Getting pretty safe on that one there. We didn't really push it too close to the wall, but keeping it nice and smooth on the power, close to the wall on the exit there, and then powering down the main straight. And at the moment, everything is looking quite good, because I know that even if the car behind me, I was thinking my aim really was to keep Quentin around 8 tenths behind me during the straight, because I didn't want him getting in the slipstream for this straight, so we could use mixture 6 and save even more fuel. But also I did know that even if they do get in the slipstream, following at this track in this combination was horrible. You literally could not turn the front end of the car as soon as you got in the dirty air. It was really not very nice, especially the final corner there, turn 1, the final corner onto the back straight as well. There were so many areas where you just lost a lot of time. So luckily for me, I was quite strong out of this corner here, and also the final corner. So I felt, even if someone did get fairly close, I felt I could probably defend in terms of going up into the braking zone. But yeah, at the moment, everything going pretty much to plan. Couldn't really done anything better than what I've done so far. A few little errors here and there, but driving pretty well. Not using too much of the boost at this stage. We have used a fair amount. You see there, just over a quarter. But yeah, we're on to lap 4 here, so that's about right, as we have a little bit of a moment on the wall there. You see, this, because of that, again, I've used a little bit of that boost button to counterize that move, the mistake that I've made. I'm trying to counterize that and give ourselves a little bit of a tenth or two back as we work our way to the top of the hill. We're into mixture 2 now. A bit of fuel saving again through here, helps with the rotation of the car. It's a little bit safer, may not be quite as fast, but you don't lose a massive amount of time, because that section is all very technical. It's about maintaining speed. So yeah, mixture 2 doesn't do too much harm. And then we clipped the wall there. That was a bit of a mistake, and again, you see, because I knew I'd made that little mistake, getting on that boost, trying to counter it again, and using the boost just to give ourselves a bit more top speed down here. But yeah, a little clip on that wall, lost me a tenth or two there, quite frustrated with that. But after this was probably one of our weaker, I think this is one of the weaker lap mistakes, but you know, we've got that boost there to cover it up a little bit as we work our way through the very tricky corner here, where you've got to try and cut the right hand side to get the most out of the corner really, and get the best time out of the lap, and then into that final corner, which again can be very, very tricky if you get your curve, if you get the right hand side onto that curve whilst powering out of it. You probably saw in practice and in qualifying laps, we actually binned it there a few times. But now into turn 1 again, early up shift into 3rd gear, use the power, use the boost, work your way up the hill, give yourself nice momentum all the way up now, and still driving very well. We're going to skip that lap and move on now to our fastest lap in the race. This was a pretty nice lap on lap, I think it's lap 6, isn't it? Yeah, we drove this lap almost perfectly. There was a couple of little errors, but you see, didn't use too much of the boost. We used a little bit of the boost, but still, considering the tyre wear, this was a nice lap. And you see, we actually managed to increase the gap to P2 during this lap using the boost nicely. And one thing I did notice is that I didn't go down to third gear on turn 2. I stayed in 4th, so maybe that was a way to do that corner. It did seem to help me out. I managed to gain quite a bit of time by doing that. And then using the boost, just every now and then, just one little touch of the boost again there, just on the way up the hill. I was trying to use it in the areas where it's going to maintain a bit more top speed and give yourself a bit more acceleration more than other areas. On downhill sections, you don't really need to use it too much. Into mixture 2, you can see we're on a personal best through that sector, and then on the downhill section, I really hooked that up. Able to get on the throttle nice and early. You saw that nice and aggressive on the throttle. Downshifted perfectly here. Got the car rotated, and on the power with the boost, a little bit of squirt on the boost there. Almost perfectly as we work our way downhill. And yeah, on pretty solid lap here, you can see. Drove that almost perfectly. A couple of tiny errors, but nothing major. We're actually gone purple through there. 3 tenths faster than anyone's managed to do at this stage. So yeah, the tyres are getting worse, but the fuel is getting lower with the car, and the soft tyres, the medium tyres at this stage were still pretty nice to drive. They weren't really fading too much. They felt like there was plenty of grips there as we brake into the final corner, getting on the power nice, and you can see, oh, and so close onto that curb, and that was a scary moment just as we got onto the curb, but we still managed to go over the line for a 41.4, so a pretty solid lap there as we work our way up the hill now and just trying to secure that again. You see, we've got the gap up to about 1.5 seconds. I did believe that I'd used a slight bit more fuel at this stage than some of the cars behind me, but it depends whether they've used more boost or fuel ins. If you've got a bit more boost left, that could come in handy towards the end. So we're using a bit more boost there, just trying to give a bit of better exit. You see, we've still got pretty decent amount of boost left. We're just over halfway, but we're coming up to halfway in the race, so we have got enough boost to see us through to the end if we need to, as we're trying to just get some good laps in now, because my aim here was to try and separate the field a little bit by using a bit more boost and trying to get some really solid lap times in from lap from this lap, lap 6 all the way through to the end of lap 8. The aim was to try and build that gap up for the pit stop at the end of lap 9, as lap 9 was going to be the lap that I needed to pit to really get some more fuel in, put the hard tyres on. And the hard tyres, it was a stint that I always tend to worry about, especially in high downforce, because in general I'm not the strongest on the harder compounder tyre. You've probably heard me say it many a time before. I much prefer being on the medium or the softer compound tyres. They're the tyres that I tend to get more feel from. I feel like I can feel the grip a lot easier. On the hard tyres I tend to struggle a little bit. I don't really like the way the rear goes a little bit loose sometimes. I much prefer the softer on the medium tyre in terms of the front end grip and the stability they give. So yeah, at the moment driving pretty well. Into that final corner again, made a little bit of a mistake on the final sector there, so it's not probably going to be as fast as the lap we did on lap 6. As you see, we go over a 41.8. However, it's still in the 41s. It's a pretty solid lap at this stage of the race, and now we're coming to the start of lap 8, and now again it's just about keeping it nice and smooth and trying to get a solid lap on lap 6. We've got the gap to P2 at 1.5 seconds still. You can see Quentin there. Like I say, I could see that he was saving fuel in some areas, but I could see that he was using more boost than me in other areas, because it's really easy to work out by the where you increase the gap and where he's increasing the gap and where it's narrowing. So I could see where he was short shifting and probably saving fuel, and I could also see where he was using a bit more boost than where I was using it. But so far, everything going pretty much as perfect as can be. I'm driving, actually, these laps before the pit stop have been really solid. You can see 41.8, 41.4, 41.8, very good lap times, and we're actually purple there by a tenth. So this sector here, not quite hooking it up as much as I did on my lap 6, but still driving really well. Coming into the end of this stint with these tyres, doing pretty solid lap times, still in the 41s at this point of the race. It's pretty impressive. At 40 to do like 3 laps in the 41s, and then to be heading for a possible fastest lap in the race if I wouldn't have made a little mistake there. You can see lost nearly 3 tenths, over 2.5 tenths just on that one sector, but still on for a fairly solid lap. Obviously the tyre wear is going to affect some of these sectors now, especially through the corners. You're going to lose a little bit of time with that tyre wear starting to take effect. But into the final corner, trying to make sure we hook it up there into third gear nice and early, use a little bit of boost on the exit, and over the line for a 1 minute 41.6. So again, a pretty solid lap time considering the state of these tyres. You can see that it was not worth pitting early really, because the medium tyres was still pretty good. You're best just using every little bit of lap that you could get out of these medium tyres, because again, through the sector there with the purple sector time, so again, we're driving really well. They're giving us a grip, they're giving us a lap time, maintaining 4th gear through that corner again. Now Quentin here, you can see, is going to start using his boost up. Now this is a mistake. I think at this point I should have sacrificed some of my boost, but I didn't. I used some of it, but I could have used a lot more. He actually used a lot more boost on this final lap. You can see he gains so much time on the acceleration zones because he's using so much of his boost up to get close for the pit stop. He probably knew what I was doing on the previous lap by trying to accelerate, get the gap up a bit. So he's using quite a lot of boost to try and get the jump on us during the pit stop, and I think I should have countered that by using near enough all my boost at this stage. However, mistakes are made. I didn't. I tried to save boost for the end. I felt confident that we could just about come out ahead in the pit stop phase, and obviously have boost still left. So you can see again using some of the boost on the straight there, but I didn't want to use too much that we have none left. So I let him use it and get in the slipstream because I was pretty confident that he's still going to be about 6 tenths behind no matter what, obviously with that dirtier. And with fuel, I knew that we'd have more fuel, he'd have more fuel than me. However, I felt confident that we should still be able to come out the pits just ahead of him, even with the you know, a couple of percentage of fuel lower as we go through the corner there. Accelerating now into the braking zone, you can see he actually gains quite a bit on the pit entry, so I didn't really push it too much. So I was quite nervous of overdriving into the pit, so you can see he gained about 3 tenths on us on the pit entry, and you can see he has got 5% more fuel than me. So at this point we've got about half a second advantage. Fuel goes in very quick. You can see it's almost about half a second for what fuel we're behind. So we both come out the pits, both putting 44 litres in, you can see there, and we come out slightly behind. However, on the exit I used my boost and decided to go back past him, and I think he'd used quite a lot of his boost and didn't want to use too much at that stage, you can see. So we've actually managed to get a whole car length back ahead of him, and now into braking zone. I could see that he was over a car length behind. I didn't think he'd throw it up, and he actually, yeah, I personally think it was a little bit too aggressive. He nearly pushed us into the wall there. I think that without us being there, he would have knocked us off. It would have probably rammed so far wide. You can see we were way over a car length ahead into the braking zone. I don't think it was dirty. I just think that he braked a little bit too late. You can see up on the inside, knocks us off there. It's a little bit too aggressive. It's nothing too bad. Pushes us a bit wide, and it's a bit of a push to pass move. But you can see at this point in the braking zone, just before the 50 board, we're over a whole car length behind you, ahead. You can see I didn't think that I'd need to defend too much. Probably should have defended, but also you can see at this stage of the race, annoyingly, I actually had more boost left than he did. So I think without him doing that, I think we would have secured that P1. I just don't see, even if he had more pace on the hard tyres, the loss of air, which you can see now as soon as we're behind, is so massive that I don't think it would have mattered, because if we have more boost to defend against him on the straights, I can't see him being able to get past with that aero loss that you get from the hard tyres running in the dirty air. So quite frustrated I was, and I was actually, I think at this stage as well, I was a little bit angry at myself as well. I should have probably defended a bit more on the inside, although I didn't think he would have gone for that. I felt it was too dangerous with the penalty system to even try that there, in my view. And yeah, I decided to, I think I was kind of in a bit of a frustrated mood, and that's going to take it out on my driving a little bit. It's going to take me a few laps to settle back down, but that's what happens in racing. If you get quite annoyed, sometimes I get if I get annoyed in a situation like that, you're going to lose a little bit of time. But also, I knew that it was pretty much race over, because now that I'm behind him with even if I could get close with the dirty air, there is nothing you can physically do with this car at this track with the corners the way they are. It is very hard to follow, especially if you're driving behind someone as fast as Quentin. In a car like this, it's pretty much impossible to do anything about him. So yeah, I was a little bit annoyed because I felt like if I would have got through that corner in P1, we had the victory. So we're going to skip to lap 12 now. You can see lap 11 was not the best. I was struggling a little bit with the tyres, still trying to get them up to temperature. We had Quentin, who pitted a lap earlier, who would have had more heat in his tyres. However, he's 1.3, 1.2 seconds behind. But I felt like we started to cover him off on this lap. You can see I had a bit of boost left. Just had to start getting into a rhythm and trying to concentrate and put that little bit of incident behind us and see if we can come home in a P2, which still, P2 in a top 16 Superstars race is still going to be the biggest points I've ever had in FIA. So yeah, a little bit of an incident there, was frustrated, but at the end of the day it's racing, stuff like that happens, and I don't know, I personally wouldn't have gone for that move, I don't think. in that situation with the current penalty system. I think it was a little bit too aggressive, but I can understand why he did go for it as well. So yeah, we're going to look like we're going to come home in P2. We just got to try and secure this result now from Aura in P3, which we seem to be matching him on this lap. You can see the gap staying around 1.3, we've actually increased it on this lap by 2 tenths. So yeah, I was pretty confident at this stage. Now we've got that gap up to 1.5. I pretty much settled for this position from this point onwards. I didn't really want to overdrive him. We also didn't lose too much pace to Quentin now on this lap. You can see we're actually matching a little bit better. Only 4 tenths behind our 41.4, but decided from this point onwards, saving a bit of fuel, you can see, and trying to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. So I didn't want to bin it. I didn't want anything worse to happen. I just wanted to secure the P2, so it took it very easy for this final lap. I think obviously if we would have been in the lead still, we would have been pushing more, and I think we would have been in 41s on these tyres, like 41.7s, 8s, something like that at least. But you can see, you know, doing okay. Like 42.0, pretty solid lap there. But again, we're not pushing 100% because I don't need to. We've got Aura 1.5 seconds behind. I've still got a tiny bit of boost there, and this lap now is all about just getting to the finish. I really did take it super easy on this lap. You're going to see in some of the areas on the track, you know, down to third gear there, not really risking it on the wall there, just trying to take it nice and smooth through the corner, and then into the braking, making sure I brake nice and early down to second gear. Again, being very cautious on the throttle in third gear. Didn't want to lose any, lose the rear anywhere and just have a massive moment and lose this P2. So, obviously in top 16 Superstars race, every position is worth so much points because of the extra 50 points you get in the race. So yeah, keep it nice and smooth as we skip ahead to the final corner, taking it nice and smooth through here. You can see he's 8 tenths behind us. We've got this covered over the line, and yeah, we managed to come over in P2 again. I think we could have had P1. I think it was on the cards. If we would have been ahead in that corner, I think we'd have had it, because I don't think anyone can follow. As long as you've got someone with reasonable speed, it's almost impossible to follow at this track. So yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is. We come home with some very, very nice points. You're going to see now my biggest points ever in FIA, 426 points. That is an amazing amount of points, and it's actually put me up to P3 overall in the region and P1 in the UK. So we're leading for the UK, and we're also P3 in the whole European region. So very nice season so far. Surprising as well, because this season when it first came out, I did look at it and think, not really my cup of tea. But so far we've had some pretty good results in this season. We could have had more points as well. We had a similar situation at Brands Hatch in that round where we got pushed out on the final corner and lost the position. So yeah, we've had some unlucky stuff, some stuff that's racing incidents. I think this is more of a racing incident that happened in this. I think he didn't mean to hit us. I think he just braked a fraction too late and it turned into a bit of a push to pass. But at the end of the day, Quentin's not a dirty driver, and we still pick up some very nice points. So I hope you enjoyed this little recap of the FIA Nations race for people that didn't see it. And yeah, I'm quite proud of myself, to be honest, to be able to come away with 426 points. That's that's a large amount of points, and it's the most amount I've ever had. So let's keep this momentum going, keep pushing, and see if we can get some big points all the way through the next few seasons, all the way up to GT7. Thanks again for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification button so you won't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.